It's a rainy day today. I think we should go over what you're gonna need to get your first deer hunt under wraps and actually have a successful hunt. We're gonna kind of go over the essentials today, or at least what I would recommend. I'm sure I forgot stuff, but let's just go ahead and talk about what you're gonna need to actually accomplish this. All right, we're gonna get into my essentials that I would give to somebody or tell somebody that they needed for their first deer hunt. Deer hunting, along with a lot of other types of hunting, can be one of those things where you don't know what you don't know, and then you go on YouTube and you see all these different guys with all this expensive gear. You're like, man, I'll never get out and actually kill a deer. If you are completely brand new to it, it's something that I think is a little easier than, it's especially easier nowadays than it was in the past with all the information that's out there. But I do want to make this video just to kind of show you what you would need to get out on your first hunt and hopefully have a successful hunt. Okay, so step one, choose your weapon. You're going to need to determine whether you're going to bow hunt or rifle hunt. You can also hunt with slug shotgun. There's a few different ways to hunt deer. It depends on your season, your state, and also what tag you get a hold of. Some tags are only archery, and some tags you can shoot them with a bow, you can shoot them with a rifle, you can shoot them with whatever you want. And so you'll have to determine per your state what tag you can get a hold of and also what kind of hunting you want to do. With a rifle hunt, you're going to want to make sure that, obviously this is for an absolute beginner, so you're going to want to go buy a rifle. I believe you can get the Ruger American. They just came out with the Mark II. Actually, one of our buddies just bought one for like 400 bucks. You can get a new rifle. A lot of times they sell scope combos where they mount the scope on there for you. Usually it's a super dirt cheap scope, but that would get you through the door. Endless options for good deer rifles out there. My wife hunts with a 7mm by 08. Just pick one and run with it. This is your first rifle. This isn't, you know, gonna be where you end off. Rifle, you want scope rings, and the rifle, and some ammo, and get out, get it sighted in. Okay, with a bow, you can hunt with plenty of different types of bows. I recommend starting out on a compound bow. They're kind of the easiest in terms of learning them, and you can also find them very cheap. Go to your local pawn shop, you can find one that's a good fit for your size. Then take it to your nearest archery store. They'll set it up for you, get you the right arrows, help you get it dialed in. But you're gonna need good arrows with a broadhead. You're gonna need to buy actual broadheads, not the, that one's dirty. Not the field tips that are for training, but get an actual like razor blade broadhead to hunt with. You're gonna need a release, and then obviously your bow. So get your bow, release, some good arrows, and get some help getting it sighted in. Okay, so now you have your weapon of choice. Good choice. I don't know what you chose, but any weapon is better than no weapon. So now we're gonna move over to the reconnaissance side or information gathering side of the deer hunt. So the first item that you're gonna want is a rangefinder. You're gonna want this with a rifle, and you're gonna want this with a bow. With a bow, it is 100% essential, in my opinion. You're gonna want a rangefinder so that you can tell how far away something is, so that you can make a clean, ethical shot, and then you're also confident in your ability to make the shot. The second thing you're gonna want kind of pairs right in with a rangefinder. Get a good pair of binoculars. This is vitally important. A lot of people will say you don't need binoculars, you don't need, you know, a rangefinder, and I would disagree with them. Looking at something can be all the difference as to whether you shoot it or not. A lot of times people are shot, unfortunately, out hunting because someone thought that was a deer when they, you know, pulled the trigger. And it happens every year, and let's just make sure it doesn't happen to you. So make sure that you don't shoot somebody, and make sure that you can kind of have a good idea as to what's around you. Make sure that your bullet's not gonna go somewhere where it's not supposed to. You can pick up a lot more information with a pair of binoculars. They're not super expensive. You can buy them on eBay if you need to. And then the last portion to the reconnaissance or information gathering that I would call essential, especially because it's so cheap, it's a monthly payment. I would just use it for the month that you're gonna be hunting, and I would get the app called Onyx. I am not sponsored by them, nor do I have any affiliation with them, but I use their service. What Onyx does essentially for you is it allows you to see a live map of your location and see the boundaries of where you're hunting and who owns what piece of land. can be very good so that you make sure you're not trespassing with a firearm or with a weapon onto someone else's land, as well as it also allows you to kind of scout before you ever go to a piece of property. You can already take a look at the elevation and see what looks good from the map, and then you go out there and you can ensure that you're on the right property. You know, and then you can kind of mark things in there. You can even take pictures and place a pin of potential good spots to hunt. All right, so the next portion of this, we're gonna go over stealth and the things that you wear that will help you be concealed while you're hunting. So the first and most important, in my opinion, is wearing some sort of orange. Some states during certain bow seasons, you don't need to wear orange. I still think it's a good idea. The deer can't see orange. There are plenty of people every year that break the law and they walk out with their rifle and they go look for a deer and they shoot it out of season. And let's just make sure that you're not the one being shot. Even if it's not totally required, it's a very, very good idea to have orange when you're deer hunting. You don't want to get rung up by a 10-year-old with a rifle. The next, and one of the more important ones, is going to be camo. You can go to Walmart and buy camo for relatively cheap. If you're early season where it's still hot where you're at, you're gonna want something light that's gonna breathe well. So just pick a good camo, and if you're not sure, buy a few different pieces of camo, take them out to, you know, where you're gonna hunt or close to the environment, and just look at how the camo blends in. Deer can't see orange, but they can see a lot of other colors, and your camo, so make sure you have some good camo. Face paint also goes well. When I bow hunt, I typically throw on some face paint just because I got pale white skin, and so that helps kind of break up that really reflective skin that they're gonna catch out of the corner of their eye. Does not need to be expensive. Just get good camouflage that actually looks good in your environment and blends in well. And then the last piece to your stealth is going to be your scent. Okay, so this is something that people geek out on and other people don't geek out on at all, and both have success. But what we typically do, or what I typically do, you can go to the store and buy a little bottle called Scent Killer or something like that, and just make sure you spray your clothes down the night before. Make sure you take a shower and wash off any cologne that you might have on. Deer have amazing scents, and if the deer have amazing noses, and if they catch you downwind, they're gonna be long gone, probably before you see them. But if you've ever been winded by a deer, you know exactly how it feels. It sucks. So just pay attention to how you smell, because they can smell way better than you can. One more vital piece of information before we get into our final segment here is going to be medical. Now, most people don't really think about medical at all when they go hunting. It's just not really popular in the hunting community to carry an IFAK with you or some sort of trauma equipment with you. Very good idea. This is something you should have on you anyway, but I would carry it. You have no idea what can happen to you. Like I said, if that 10-year-old takes a pot shot at you and hits you in the leg, you got a tourniquet. If you fall and break your leg and now you're bleeding really bad, now you've got some gauze that can help stuff that wound and keep you alive until you can get help. Medical is essential, whether you think so or not. All right, so the last segment that I have for you guys is going to be mission success. Let's say that you've killed the deer and it is sitting right in front of you. Now what? This is where a lot of people don't really think far enough ahead, and they end up having to MacGyver their way through getting the deer to where they need to go. And you can definitely do it that way, but why not be prepared, right? So the first thing you're gonna want, in my opinion, is a flashlight. Why do you need a flashlight? Because a lot of times you're going to be hunting early morning or right at the evening time, which is usually some of the best times to get your deer. And you're gonna wanna be able to see as you're walking out to the stand so you don't trip and fall and impale yourself on a stick, or just being able to track the blood trail if your deer were to run off, which is totally normal. I would also add with the flashlight that bring a flashlight. I usually carry a flashlight and I have a headlamp. The reason I have both is flashlight can be typically a little more powerful to help me kind of spot the blood if I'm looking for it. But once I get to the deer, and we get to actually cleaning the deer or field dressing it, you're gonna wanna go hands-free because your hands are gonna get covered in blood. That's just the nature of it. The next thing you're gonna want here is you're gonna want a good cleaning kit. I recommend a cleaning kit. You can bring in just a knife and maybe a bone saw to get through the pelvis. A cleaning kit has it all there for you. So why not just pack it all and go you can find them for cheap. And it's one of those things that will just kind of keep lasting as long as you take care of it and keep your blade sharp. So get yourself a good cleaning kit. That will save you a lot of headache. It's also nice because then you don't have to stick the bloody knife back into its sheath, and then now you've got blood in the sheath, and that's a whole mess to clean up. You can put it in this plastic container, and then you can hose the whole thing down once the process is finished and you're back home. And then the last two items, which I have one of them right behind me, and then I don't have the other one on hand. Typically I hunt around an area with lots of friends. I've got lots of people in the area, so I can have help doing this. But if you have no friends, let's just say no friends or family or no one that's willing to come out and help you drag the deer, you're gonna want some quartering bag, mesh bag that you essentially quarter the deer up. You stick the legs in, stick the arms in, stick all the stuff in, and you can hoist it over your back and carry it to your vehicle. That'll save you a lot of weight. That can be an effective way to get the deer back. If not, if you do have friends or family in the area that can help you with this process, way easier. Just help them, have them help you drag the deer to your vehicle, which is the next piece. You're going to want a good vehicle. If you have a tiny little vehicle that you can't get a lick of blood in, I would recommend maybe borrowing someone else's pickup truck. Works great because you can spray the bed out when you're done. Just throw the deer in the back and then spray it all out once you're done, clean it. Just make sure that you're prepared. If you're going to go out hunting, be ready to bring a deer back. Or at least have things set up in a way where you're not going to have to wait hours and hours and hours to go back and retrieve the deer. The big thing is you're going to want to get all of the internal organs out of the deer pretty much as fast as possible, because that can spoil the deer very quickly, especially in the heat. So you're going to want to make sure that you've properly planned for if you have a successful hunt. Don't be caught off guard and not have a cleaning kit, quartering bags, and a suitable vehicle that is ready to go to haul a deer back. That is the video. That's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please make sure you subscribe, share the video, leave any comments of any future videos you want to see. This would be a fun one to do with fishing as well. I know that can have some curveballs for you too. And so I definitely recommend that you make sure you're, once again, just checking your local laws and make sure that you're operating on the right piece of property. Take my advice for a grain of salt, but this is what I would do if I were getting into it. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Deuces.